Yeah, Dana, how are you? Welcome. Yes, have everybody joined? Please join up. Let's start without delay. Yeah, thank you. Welcome. For who has not joined, Remy, Zainab. Hmm? Abdulami, have you joined? Yes, so let's get started. So I'm gonna share my screen so that we can get started immediately. Yes, can everybody see my screen and can I be heard clearly? Is the volume clear?
Yes, sir. Good
Oh,
morning.
good morning. Thank you. Who is on the call?
Ibogwa Dinaka.
How are you?
Very fine, sir. How about you?
Thank you. So let's get started immediately. Today we're going to be looking at functions. Functions are very important because they are going to be creating. And to do that, we'll quickly get to our folder, Python tutorial. Can we still hear me very clearly?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's get started immediately. So hover over this Python tutorial, click on this new file, and let's write function.py, functions.py. That's the file that we're going to be working with, functions.py, and it's going to open up. So we're going to be looking at function, and like we always do, we're going to define what a function is. So we say that a function is a block of code. A function is a block of code that only runs when it is called. So when you create a function, it doesn't just run immediately. It runs whenever it is called. So in Python specifically, we use indentation and not curly brackets. In Python, we use indentation. That's how you write a good Python code, a good code, by using indentations. So you use indentation and not curly brackets. So we don't use curly brackets in Python. So we use indentation. Okay, so let's create our first function. And the function that we are creating is actually a function that returns, want to create a function that returns a value. So how do you create a function in Python? You use the keyword def. That's how you go about it. Then you put the name of the function. The function that we are going to do here is add num. We want to create a function that adds numbers. So we call it add num. So make sure you name your function a name that relates to the function or the work that the function does. So we're going to pass in some variables that it will use in doing the addition of the num. So we're going to be giving it, we're going to pass in some arguments. So we're going to be giving it num1 and num2. So those are the arguments that it's going to use in working. So once you're calling this function and you give it num1 and num2 as parameters, it will do the addition. So those are the arguments. Anything that you put inside a bracket after the name of the function is the argument. So what is the function going to do? It's going to simply get us the total. And that total is going to be equal to num1 plus num2. That's what the total is going to be equal to. So when it does this very calculation, what do you want it to do? You want it to simply return the value of the total. That's what you want it to do. So with that, you've created a function. So this function at the moment has not been called. So you now see the output. So for you to see the output, you have to call it. So to call it, you simply say the name add num. That is how you call a function, add num. Then in brackets, passing the parameters that will stand in for these arguments. You see, the argument is num1 and num2. So pass in the parameters that will stand in for it so that it can perform that function on them. So let's pass in 20 and 8. So those are what we are passing in. So if you just once you save now, this function is going to run. But for us to print it out on the console and see what it does, let's just simply enclose it with a print, as you all know. So we're going to print this out. So once you enclose this in a print and you say Control S to save, then you come down here and run. So to run, how do we run class? Python what? Say function subscriber. So I say functions dot py. Then I press enter key. Then it should run. Can you see 28? Can everybody see 28? Huh? Okay. Yes, one who is connected. Okay, they say they are connected. They are still connected. Ibuke, can you hear me? The bigger one by the outside. No, or the smaller one inside. I think the bigger one was on before. Okay, who can still connect? Who is still Joshua, you can still hear me? Even the volume. Okay. So we have a power outage. Ibuke, can you hear me? Yeah, Ibuke, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is what we had. We said that for us to create a function, use the keyword def. Then immediately after the def, you put the name of the function, then pass in some argument that this function is going to use to work. And this time around, we're using num1 and num2. Then after that, put a colon. Then what do you want the num to do? After indenting, say total equal to num1 plus num2, then return the total. So to call the function, you simply say the name of the function, then in brackets, pass in some parameters that will replace the argument or that will stand in for the argument and run. So once you run, that's why we're able to get 28. Is it clear? So I want somebody to quickly write a function that would do subtraction. Quickly. Do it and can you share your screen? Can anybody share his screen? Okay, it's only me that can share screen. Okay. So somebody should just do the function and let me see it. Maybe I have to stand up and check it out. Who can quickly do a function that can do subtraction? Very simple. What do? So to do it, simply copy the same function. It's as easy as that. Come down and do what? Paste it. Then instead of add num, what are you going to be having? Somebody should send me. I have sub num, isn't it? Then total. What should I send total with? So I can change with anything I want, but let me use different. So I can say return what? Different. Then to run it, what do I do? So I'll have to change plus to what? Minus. And to run, I do what? Let me use the same what we had before. So let me subtract what from what? Let me get out 30 from 80. When you get out 30 from 80, what do you get? So if I Control S to save, then I come back and run. What should I get? I'm gonna get 110. Why am I getting 110 instead of, why is it not subtracting? You can tell me why it's not subtracting, because I still put add num. Can you see? I called the other function that I did. So I have subnum. So if I save now and come down here and run 50, is that clear? It's very clever. So that's how you create a function. It's very, very clear. So let's create a simple function that says hello world, so that we'll learn another way. So to create a function, what do we do? We put the keyword def, isn't it? Isn't it? So this function, we want it to say hello world. That's the name of the function. So the name you give to your function, should reflect what the function does. Is that clear? Always make sure that the name you give to your function reflects the function that reflects what the method or what the function does. So after writing the name of the function, what next do we put in brackets? We put the what? The argument. Argument simply means those properties or those variables that the function we use to perform. So which argument are we putting now? So I can simply give it say name. But I'll give this time around, I want to give an initial value of the name. And I'm gonna be using, whose name am I using here? Abdul. That's the initial value. So you can actually, the argument you're giving, you can actually give it an initial value before you continue. And that's what we're doing here. So simply say print. And in printing, we are using the words, as we always do, the F string formatting. So I will say hello. Then I bring in the argument. And you know, when you're using F string formatting, you have to use the curly brackets. So I'll simply put name. So if I run this, you know, it's not going to give out anything until I do what? What should I do before it will work? You can tell me. If you write a function, it doesn't work immediately until you do what? From the explanation of what a function, you say that a function is a function that runs when it works.
You call it.
Good to call it. Thank you very much. So how do I call this? Who can tell me what to do to call it?
Say hello world.
I say what? Say hello world. Thank you. Then what else should I do? Yes. What else? After saying hello, what else should I type?
Yeah.
Brackets. Good, very important. Before you can call something a function call, the bracket has to be there, isn't it? And to see it on the console, what should we do? What should we do to see it on the console?
You save it.
No. You're saying something. Let me hear with you. To see it on the console, what do we do? No? Something you've written to see it on the console, what do we do?
You save it.
No, not just to save. Want to be able to print out something on the console. You don't know what should we do? If you
When
call
you
hello,
print
say
it, you,
never come out in the console. It will run, but it will not come out in the console. To bring something, get something printed in the console, what do we do, class?
the print function, the print command.
This print, that's all you have to use the print command. If you don't put the print command, it's not going to come out. I'm going to put everything inside the what? Print command, isn't it? So Control S and run. You can see hello Abdul. Can you see hello Abdul down there? So I'm not passing in any argument just because. Why am I not passing it? Because I've already initialized to Abdul, isn't it? So let's say I also passed an argument here by saying, let's say I say, which should I give? Let's say I say Kashmir. I Control S and run again. Can you see now? Hello Kashmir. Can you see hello Kashmir? So if you had earlier initialized an argument, then if you run without passing in a parameter, it will bring that initial value. But if you pass in a parameter, it will override. So let's look at. So what we just looked at is.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sorry, mine is showing hello name instead of hello Abdul.
Showing hello what?
Hello name.
Hello name. Okay, so
Yeah.
check back. Maybe you have a small error.
Yeah, I checked it. I think I have the same thing you have. Okay, no problem, sir. I will still check. Okay, I'll send the issue. I'll send it.
You've seen the error, huh? Good.
Yes, normal bracket, curly bracket.
Okay, so this is how you create a normal function without returning a value, whereas the first one we did was creating a function with returning a value. So let's quickly look at what we call Lambda function. Very important. Just like we have arrow functions just like we have arrow functions in JavaScript, we have what we call Lambda function in Python. So what are these Lambda function? Lambda function is a small anonymous function. So a lambda function is a small anonymous function, and this lambda function can take any number of arguments, but can only have one expression. So it's very, very similar to the JavaScript arrow function. So it can take any number of arguments, but can only have one expression. So lambda functions can only have one expression. Very, very important. You have to take note of that. And lambda functions are very similar to the what? JavaScript arrow function. So I'm going to also put comment here so that you know this is a comment. So that is what a lambda function is. So let's try to use lambda function to write a function. So let's use it and do the same function that we did before. What is the name of that function? Add num, isn't it? So if you are in using lambda function, you don't say def, you don't use the keyword def. So you simply state the name of the function and say equal to lambda. That's what you do. So once you state lambda, then you put the arguments. You know the argument in the first one, put it in a bracket. Yeah, you simply put the arguments, and the arguments are num1 and what? Num2. So those are the arguments. So once you are done putting in the arguments, you will now put a colon. Then you now write the expression that you want this function to perform, and simply want it to do what? Num1 plus num2. That's num1 plus num2. So once you do this, we can now run this code and it will work. So to run this add num, what do we do? We'll call it, and to call it, what do? We simply say add num. We'll pass in some parameters. So which parameter are we passing to take care of the arguments num1 and num2? So let's pass in 30 and what? 40. 30 plus 40 is what? 70. Good. So to get it out on the console, we simply use the print statement to enclose it, because we want it printed on the console or in our terminal. So once I say Control S, I should be able to run this code now by coming down here and saying Python function.py. There is an error. So where is the error from? I wrote lambda. So check, where is the lambda? The spelling is not correct. There has to be B before the D, lambda. That's the right spelling, lambda. So if I save again and run again, okay, you can see 70. Can you see 70? So lambda function, you can see the expression is just straightforward. It's not like the other expressions. It's very straightforward. Please let me fix some things. We are going to join up in just 30 minutes. 30 minutes we'll look at file IO. So just get ready. Don't go out. Don't go out. In 30 minutes we'll do file IO. Thank you and God bless you. I'll pick your questions when I join back again.